make me.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new Photoshop file. Again, we're going to use the web preset, and this time we're going to use the 1600 by 1200. Make sure your background content is set to transparent. We're using the RGB color space. And give this the name color select, or just color underscore last name. So once we've done that, we'll open up the file. It should look like this. Now we're going to place your photograph that you've brought with you today. Resize it to fit the screen, and then hit enter or double click to accept. So once everyone's done that, the first thing we're going to do is duplicate the image. So Control J to duplicate.
I was just going to sit down.
So what was the size of the preset?
So we're using the largest preset, the 1200 one. $1600 by 1200. So once you've duplicated the image, just hide one layer, so we only need to work with one at the moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this as a diffuse layer. So first we're going to change it to black and white. So you can do that via adding an adjustment layer. Everyone knows how to do that now. And making sure we're clipping it to the image below. And then we'll add a second adjustment layer of threshold. No, it's not working. Unless Katerina knows how to turn it on. I've been trying for a couple of weeks now.
Okay, so it's not.
So black and white, and then adding a threshold adjustment layer as well. And again, making sure it clips. And now you'll see once you've added the threshold, you can see this histogram, this graph. What we're trying to do here is set the black and white to a level where we can see most of the detail in your shirt. So here you'll see it's way too much.
Sorry? So this just works for that one? I will be back in a minute.
I did ask Henry one week and he came in and said it's not working, but
Really?
it worked the first week you used it.
Yeah, I used it. So sorry, I just came and destroyed the electric. Hopefully. Does it take time? Okay.
There it goes. I can see the light on.
Oh, yeah. Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
So then it really doesn't work. You told me that Henry just said it doesn't work.
Yeah. He did try. Like,
Yeah.
and there's a light that turns on when you press display on. This orange light turns on. But it looks like it's on standby or something. Okay, so to confirm, we've added a black and white adjustment layer, and then we've also added a threshold adjustment layer. And in that threshold histogram, this thing here, we're just wanting to adjust the point black exposure, just so you can start to see like the detail in your article of clothing. So I think that's probably good for me. So with the threshold, we're trying to actually turn your shirt or your article of clothing black and white, and where we can see shadows and highlights. So it doesn't matter if you've lost a detail, because we're not going to be using the detail. We just want to see where the shadow is. If there's no shadows, then skip this step, actually.
Yeah, because there's no shadow, but my whole t-shirt is a shadow.
Oh. Okay, so if you've got shadows and we've gotten to this step, what we're going to do now is save this. So File, Save As, and then we're going to add to the end diffusion, because we're using this as a diffusion layer. Making sure you're saving it as a .psd file. So once that's done, we can now just go back and delete it, the adjustment layers in that layer that we've duplicated. So you should be left with that original layer that's turned off. Everyone ready to move on? Okay, so the next step we're going to do is we're going to select by color. So if you go up to the Select tab, you'll see Color Range. We want to click on that. Making sure you've got your base layer selected in the layers as well, firstly. And you'll see a new window opening. So you've got a little preview down here that you can see what's actually been selected by color. Using the eyedropper or the mouse, we just want to select the color of your shirt. And you'll see the preview instantly changes. So what you should see is your entire image should be black except for that article of clothing should be white. And that means you've selected it. If it doesn't look clear, like you've got some parts of your shirt or article of clothing selected, we can adjust the fuzziness, which is this slider here. So you can adjust it up, but if you adjust it too much, you can see some of the background is starting to show. So this is too much for me. That here is good. Once you've got that selected, we'll hit OK. And now you should have your shirt mostly selected. What we're going to do now is mask this. So remember, we've got the selection already selected. We want to come down and hit the masking layer. And now we should just see your shirt. But remembering that it automatically masks whatever selection is, we want to invert that layer. So Control I to invert the layer mask. Do you guys want me to go through those steps again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So coming back to this step here, firstly we want to go to Select, Color Range. We want to select the shirt color, so in my case it's green. So I'll just click on the shirt with the eyedropper. You can adjust the fuzziness here of the power of the selection, so instead of it being just one shade of green, you'll select multiple if you go higher, and if you go too high, you'll start selecting the other ambient colors. So you want to do it just so that your article of clothing is white and the rest of the image isn't. If it's not perfect and you've got other parts of like the image being selected, that's okay, we can fix that up later in the layer mask. So I think about there. Once you've done that, hit OK. You'll see a selection. Now we've got that selected, we want to add a layer mask. So come down and hit the layer mask. And then we want to invert the layer mask, because remember, once we've got it selected, it automatically hides the background. So Control I to invert. And then all of you should have an image that looks something like this. Hands up if your image doesn't look like this. No? Everyone's good? Great. So now what we can do is we can clean up your layer mask. So I can see here that I've got little bits of the shadows and the greens that didn't come through correctly.
What was the shortcut to invert?
Control I. But you make sure that you've got your layer mask selected. Yep. So a little shortcut in case you want to check how your mask is. If you hold down the Alt button and click your layer mask, you'll see it go to black and white preview. So once I've done that, I can see that some of my shirt actually didn't get selected, even though it was green. So what I'm going to do now is using the paintbrush and using the color black, I'm just going to come back and fix this up manually. And really I'm just trying to fix up the center of the main mask, because what I'm going to try to do is use the Refine Mask tool. If you hold down the Alt button and then click your layer mask down the bottom, it will show you a black and white preview. It's just the easiest way to see your layer mask, otherwise it's difficult to see how you've selected it. So holding down the Alt and clicking your layer mask. So once you think you've pretty much selected most of the mask, what I'm going to do is just do a refine mask. So everyone should know how to do that now. We've done it several times.
How do you do to go to the mask?
The refine mask.
No, to
Like, how do I get to the black and white?
yeah.
If you hold down the Alt button on your keyboard and then click the mask, it will come up with a preview. So this is purely just a preview. If you went to print screen or went to print, this wouldn't actually show. It's just a preview. So you're in your channel. Yes, black, yeah. So if you hold down the Alt button and click on mask. Yeah, there we go. So now the bottom right. But this is pretty obvious. So refine the edge with your mask.
This is the solid surface. What do you want?
Once you've refined the edge, you should see that the selection's more contrasting.
But I think now that painted this yeah, but it's
If you look in my image, you can see. Yeah.
you just painted this black in this one.
Sorry.
You painted the rotation black in this one, right? And black and white ones.
Yeah. So once we're in the layer mask, you want to use your brush tool, and what you're going to do is put the side of your brush. Yeah, it's not. What's in the selected? Yeah, it's because you had something on the screen selected.
Somewhere, yeah, I
And if
can
you,
see it as well.
yeah. But just paint the inside, because once you've got the inside done, we'll then do a layer mask to do the edges. Refine edge mask, refine mask. Okay, if everyone looks on the screen, you'll see I've just done the refine mask, so I've got the edges selected automatically. But what I haven't done is I haven't tried to colour in these bits here that I've missed. The reason being is if you're using the refine mask tool, it's only going to work along an edge. So what I've got to do is I've got to come back with a brush and manually fill in these bits. But the refine edge is really just for when there's two contrasting colours or two edges. Like this, okay? So once you've done that, I'll come back and then I'll just fix up those edges manually. So the purpose here is that we're going to end up with an image that you've completely selected your article of clothing. And my image is from the internet, so it's a little bit low res, but hopefully you guys have worked with a good quality image, and this should be a lot easier. But you should end up something like this. Hands up if you need help.
Yeah, it was like this.
Okay, so you've done the first, you say this. Like, so you've done these steps here, just cancel this. And you save this. Control. Save this. Yeah. Yeah. Just save it to the computer. This is the diffusion layer. Just save it as diffusion or diffuse, whichever one you want. Uh-huh. And now we're going to delete
Now
these three, two adjustment layers and that layer up. I mean that layer. Right. Yeah. Each way is to select them both using shift and then dragging into the edge. But you have to drag from here and drag it all the way down to the end. So now we've done this, now you want to do the selection. So select, color range, and then select here somewhere in your shirt that you know your shirt is. Okay. And now you can see some edges have been like lost, but also you're picking up some of your background.
It's white.
Slide up. Sort of get the best.
Try to adjust the edges so you can
Yeah,
see them.
I think reds are hard because there's like a little shade of red in everything. But I think it's okay to go like a little bit more on this. And what we'll do is we'll just manually remove your face.
Yes.
That's alright. Here's good. So select that face. And now while you've got this selected, we want to go straight and adjust, add a layer mask. And then the trick that I was showing you on before is if you hold down the Alt button and then click on your mask, it brings you to like a preview black and white. So now you can use the black and white brush and just remove some of this like your arm and face. And also then using the white, we want to actually include more of the shirt. Okay?
You choose the color and the color.
He's wearing black. Okay. So,
I'm changing the color.
if you hold down shift,
Every time the white, they work. The white they select and the black select. It's only selection. Try this one.
and then we'll put in the layer on. We're going to paint that on. Anyone else? Or we can try and brush out
If you do nothing, it still doesn't react.
because the words actually
Right? Just if you don't do the fine, you just select the black. Because now black is
and you
selected.
drag the word. And then now you can just paint. But just paint the inside. Because then you come around the refine mark and then you get. Anyone else?
Yeah. I'm trying to refine it just with the white.
When you refine the edge. So with the refine edge, you can only ever do it when there's like a clear contrast. So we'll increase the size of your brush a little bit. And what you want to do is go along the edge only. Because the way the refine edge works is the computer calculates the difference between
We're
two
just
pixels.
adding the selection.
You see how now it's much finer? So the computer is calculating where an edge is by the difference between the two neighboring pixels. And so once you've done that, it should work out what your selection is. But you can only do this on an edge. So if I try to do it where there's no contrast, it won't work. So you're just doing this around the edge of the selection. Like this. And then once you've done that, you're okay. Come back with your brush and just manually fill in those bits that we missed because, like I said, you can only do it around the edge. So you've got to do this manually in the center.
A while ago. Yeah, but a while ago you didn't switch the colors even outside.
Yeah, even outside it
And what we want to do also is see how your face is being selected. So when we're using the layer mask, we're using black to erase and white to add. So we'll change the color here and just get rid of the face because we don't actually want that in your layer mask. And the same thing with the arms, but I'll let you do that. So really what you should see is just the shirt or the article of clothing. Anyone else can help? For those that have actually been that, what I want you to do now is I want you to go online and try to find a texture or a pattern that you really like. It can be a textile pattern, it can be like a tree trunk, just a pattern or an image of texture that you really, really like. You mean like so you can see black and white like that? So the short cut is the whole difficult. And you just do a layer mark. And once you've done that, you can just use the brush. That's the normal. Remembering that the white is for the addition and black is just the correct. So we're going to do a shirt completely black. But then also then you need to use the white. That actually okay. Yeah, it's confusing because in this preview mode, it's black and white, but they're actually the opposite to what they are. So black is actually a addition in this case. Does that make sense? Anyone else need help? Yeah. Okay, so this looks pretty good, but what we want to make sure is the shirt is completely selected. So I think what is going on here is there's some shading that's looking stuff. So using the black color, we just want to make sure that we fill in the shirt and using brush. Maybe I think we will be invert. So in your case, it's brush. Yeah. Sorry, we must invert the layer because what we want to do is keep your thing. And now we're filling this in. So now it's black. How'd you go? It looks good. Once we add the shirt texture back in, you'll probably miss these details. So just go online and find a texture. But guys, when you're looking for textures, make sure that you're... I never know how to use Google. Make sure you're changing the size from any size to large because we're only looking for high quality images, okay? So make sure you're looking for large size images on Google. And it can be any texture as long as you like it. Is there any thoughts? Normally it's only when people like to book in with the check account, but I think even if you compare to English. But then the only time it won't work. If you go back to Google. If you go to phone. Yeah, actually, I think I have this problem on my computer and I've never seen this option either, but for this instance it works. Everyone okay? Does anyone need help? Okay, who doesn't have a texture image that they found? Couple. Alright guys. It can be either texture, pattern, textile. So I might just show the people that have finished already the next step and then I'll come back and do it again. So we found a texture, something like this one. What you're going to do is save it to your computer somewhere. Come back to Photoshop. And actually, I hope everyone's layer mask is really good, but I might just touch one up a bit, otherwise it'll be a bad example. Okay, so what we're going to do is place that image, that texture that we just downloaded, just resize it to something of the same shape as your article of clothing. Some shortcuts when you're resizing: if you hold down Alt, you can resize to a center point, like this. If you hold down Shift, you can fix it to proportion. If you hold down Alt and Shift, you fix it proportion and resize from a center point. Otherwise, you're resizing from the diagonal points. Okay, so I'm going to place it there. Double click or enter to approve. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to hold down the control button while we click on top of your shirt layer or article of clothing layer, like this. Control click, and you'll see the computer's automatically added your layer mask to the selection. Once you've done that step, we're just going to add a mask to this texture pattern, like so. And then, like normal, we'll just invert the mask. So did everyone follow those steps? So just to go over it again, first we're going to place the texture image that we've just downloaded. We're going to resize it to fit over the article of clothing. Once you've done that, we're going to hold down the control button while you select your layer mask. And what that does is that automatically puts your layer mask into the selection. And then once we've got that selection, we're just going to add a mask to your wood texture or your texture file. And as per usual, we'll invert that layer mask. Now you can see in my downloaded image of the internet, my edges are a bit rusty.
Just a question.
Mm-hmm. I'll come around and help people. Who needs help?
I think that my black
Yeah, your mask needs to be dark, so it needs to be completely black and white. Your shirt is not selected correctly.
so I just want to
Yeah, so in the paint remover, what you're going to do is paint around the center. And once you've got that center painted, we're going to refine the mask edge. Yeah, because your flow is only 4%. So it should always be at 100, otherwise you'll have like a weak flow of paint coming out.
And with this, I just want to
Yeah, just do the centers and then refine the edge, refine the mask edge to the sides. Yeah, and then we're just going to invert this mask, the control line. Anyone else need help? That looks really cool. Sorry. So where's the texture file? First we need to place the texture file. Your layer mask is the same. You tell them to sit in the layer mask. And then you can hold down. Oh, you can put the mask. Get rid of the video. No, the layer mask. Layer mask. Well, no, layer mask. No, now it's yeah, you didn't even sorry. This is your texture? Yeah, this is great. Guys, some of these are really impressive. Yeah? So we right click on your layer mask and go refine mask. And now remember you're just using your brush. To go
Once you
around
are ready with this task, just upload it on the Webdirect Facebook.
We're running out of time.
No. No. But if the results are so nice,
Yeah.
we'll collect it.
So one last step, guys. So now that we've added the texture, your image should look like this. What we're going to do now is come back and add that diffusion layer that we've added before. So if you go filter, I just need to remember. It's distort and displace. Sorry, I've been calling it diffusion, but it's displacement layer. So filter, distort, displace. Here we're going to go horizontal scale 1 and vertical scale 10. Hit the OK button. And now find that file that we've made earlier that we've called the diffusion file. Now for my image it didn't really work too well, but what it's going to do is it's going to detect where your black and white are on that diffusion layer and then warp your texture image to that file. So I can see my image slightly was adjusted, but it's a really bad quality image to use. Yep. So what we're going to do is go up to filter, distort, displace, horizontal scale of 1, vertical scale of 10, stretch to fit, and actually here we'll go wraparound edge, that's probably a better option. And then hit OK. Select your diffusion or displacement layer that you've made earlier, the black and white image. And that's it. Did anyone see like a more dramatic effect in there? Because it's in German. So filter it.
Filter and then we
Go
clear out
to-
this
And distortion. Yeah, no, this is pitch. I think it actually is the second one in line.
Yeah, I think it's a different
So
one.
it's,
It's,
I guess it's this one.
yeah, that's the one. That's the one, but then
But then if
it's
you,
it's-
distortion is something different.
it should be
It's displacement.
diffusion.
Yeah, it's actually displacement. Yeah, like displace.
That
Maybe it should be this
Raymond,
one.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, and then I put one for the first.
So guys, everyone should have gotten to this step okay? Or someone needs help? Okay, from 1, 2, 3. So your question was not that serious, and then the mask. So that's okay, because now you can come in with a mask. You can fix us a mask now. Do you want to go? You've got the same problem.
I actually nicht how to do their, how do you say,
The displacement layer. It's pretty much like this, and you just say this is the PSD,
okay.
and then you use the diffusion that we talked about before.
Do you know what numbers you put?
Yeah, it's because
I think they were 1 and 10.
Do it. Eins, go. Muss man noch irgendwas anklicken, ne, im Fenster?
yeah, I also like this. Displacing that diffusion layer did not have enough shadow. Actually, I think a lot of people, I didn't see much in mine. But it's a good tool to use in theory.
Was wir angefangen hatten, das ist
Yeah, so now you want to add a layer mask. Before layer mask tool. Yes, this one. And now we want to invert this to control line. Yeah, because your layer mask is not selected very well. So, where you go to step. This one here is not done correctly. See how you've got that break? So you need to go forward.
Okay, I don't know, like a white picture and then like
save it, close it, and then re-record. Guys, once you've added your displacement layer, some of you may have ended up with like an edge that's moved. The reason this has happened is your displacement layer had a different color, like black or white along the edge. If you want, you can either undo the displacement layer, because I think a lot of people didn't notice much effect. But in theory, what the displacement layer is, it reads a black and white image and determines where you should warp your layer. So we're trying to warp the shirt around your body. We've done this in the past using the pinch filter, but I think this one is better and it's much more accurate to actually use the shadows off of an image to then warp your image. So in the future, you know how to use it. But in this task, I don't think it works for everyone. So if you're having issues, you can just undo the displacement layer. Yeah, like I can barely see much difference in mine. Maybe I can just see it changes slightly. So that's that task done if you finish this. If you want, you can change your background. Everyone knows how to select the background now, and you can change it to something else or make it a gradient like we normally do. Yeah, so if you're having trouble with the edges, we can just undo the displacement. Yeah, unless you think it's like added some really great first to your thing.
The eye?
Do you think
And
it added
you
some
just say it in like
So I think it's not necessary. These are looking good. If you want, you can add like some shadow or something to make it better. But
I just realized.
have you been talking about
Yes. Because it's somewhere in the story.
I see.
You can replace it with the same photo, like the same place, just in the mask you can only reveal the eyes.
What we're doing here is just open the photo.
The original thing.
So when you're using this tool, you can only use it on your edge. Because if you don't calculate it, you make it. And then it's adding it to the selection. So again, see, I think there's so much variation in this chart.
First, I don't know.
So, this one is not anyway. So we does anyone else need help? Yeah. You could select you've already, so you said you changed this one? Can I do it? So, the one that we're using this or? You've done updated this one. So let's see control. And now coming back to this one, what we'll now do is just using a running brush.
There's, I believe that there are other ways of doing this.
That's one way.
That's usually one thing. Like,
Selection.
that's actually how you adjust, for example, the pavement in your visualization.
Yeah. Okay.
You can really
So,
a lot in part of like
actually,
the
this is wrong
change
because
services part of your architecture. Like 3 or 4 versions looks going to be there.
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I can try to use your computer. Or you can. That's gonna be really funny because I don't know how to operate on the regular one. Okay, what we wanted to do once you're ready with this is also to show how to use the background eraser. Who knows how to do that? Who is using background eraser tool? Yeah, just erase the background and you can, for example, select the person with the hair, like yeah, not with the masking, with another thing. So I posted on Facebook a picture of a tree, but you can choose any other. If you have some picture where you have something like hair flying over your head on kind of a background which has a good contrast, so that we can freely choose it. But a tree on the blue background is quite a good thing. So you can use the picture from Facebook, which I posted on Winterrack. Wow, so. But this is Nathan's computer, so I must download it for me. You must go to your Facebook. You must show me later on. I just don't know how to do this with the masks. I've never done it.
Yeah, I think it's really powerful. So Verterag.
It's really powerful and it's really nice.
Some of these images are great. I think it's hit and miss
I love
depending
it.
on the base image.
So
This one?
no, I just uploaded a tree.
To message or
No.
it's not there though?
It's not there yet. Have you found the tree on the Facebook? They have.
It's in Verterag?
Yes,
There.
here it is.
Okay. So download.
Download this.
Do you want me to open up a new Photoshop?
Yeah, that'd be great. But I'll try to use this. Windows. Regular PC.
Or we can plug your PC in if you like. It's up to you.
Doesn't matter. I'll try.
Do you want me to import this image as well?
Yeah, just place it here.
think it's this one. Yeah.
Very nice. So
So
Can
does
place-
this help, or everyone's ready to move on to the next task?
place the file. Yes. Yep. You can use the file from Facebook, or you can choose your own. I don't know. If you have like nice photo of yourself, you can use yourself. Actually, it's maybe better. That depends on you. And sometimes it's handy. Or for example, in this way, you can generate your own trees in order to put them in the visualization of your house for the presentation, or something that you can really make the scene natural. And how to select the trees from the background in order to use them somewhere else, or to generate yourself a library of custom trees, which I did also. It's great to use the eraser tool, but under eraser tool you have background eraser tool, which has the advantage that you can protect the foreground color of your image. So choose this file, and do I still have it there? But I must choose this one. Yep. With Alt, holding down Alt, you can choose to protect the foreground color. So the foreground color will be color of the leaves of the tree, but I still don't know why this is not. Where am I? Yeah, I have to. Don't place it as a smart image, because that's not handy right now. You must really place it as a regular image. Okay. So if it happened, just double click on the image and it will disappear. And you can also unlock your image, which is double clicking on the lock and unlocking, so you have the layer 0 or the tree, for example. Right. So now you choose the background eraser tool, which is under eraser tool, just a different type. And now you have like the size of your brush, and here is this control 1. Yep. So let's make it bigger so that we can focus on it. And so now my brush is really very small, so I will increase the size a little bit so that I can see it even on the screen. Yep. For example, like this. And what's important, you can click in this line many things. For example, protect for the foreground color. And how to choose your foreground color is holding Alt, pressing Alt on a Mac. Okay. So Control, where is it? Or Shift or Alt? Yeah, pressing Alt is choosing the foreground color to protect. So I will choose the yellow one. You will see it that it appears in the window on the left on the foreground color. So this is the color I want to protect. In order to work well with this tool, I would increase the tolerance quite a bit. Otherwise, I would have like bluish surrounding of the tree. So you can try to start with low tolerance, and you will see how much tolerance will appear here around the tree. Another thing which I would really click in is to select this continuously, because I want to also select the colors which are in the middle of the tree, like surrounded with the branches. So choose the discontinuous thing, and in these types it can directly choose the color that you are just going around, but I would not select that. So now if you click into your tree, you see control 1 more, maybe more, just to really see how big tolerance have you chosen. And you see it's really not well enough. It should be a little bit more. How do you move this? So let's the arrows. This one here. Okay. So I would definitely select bigger tolerance in order to select the tree, just only the leaves, not these shadows around. So Control Z. How's it? It's here. So I would choose the tolerance to be like 50 or 50. Yeah, which I chose before. So now if I click, the tree is selected well much better, and you see that you haven't lost much of the tree. So in order to do this like at once, it's really good to increase the size of the brush. So you just make one click and the whole tree will be selected without the background. So Control minus. Here. So if I increase my size to really a big one, then but you must then choose the right place in the tree, right? And this is like a very fast way how to get the tree out of your background without much lost. So I recommend you to try it with the tree and maybe with your own person, because I would like now to have some object which we can do another thing with. So everybody is well with that? Pretty good. Very nice. So now prepare an object with which we can do actions with. That's another thing that I wanted to do right now. So either you cut out the tree and place it in another file, in a new file. So okay. Eraser, but hold it down, and there will be background eraser. Yeah. So yeah, select your statue or your person or your face or some object that we can work afterwards with and put it into new file. So now something is selected. Yeah. So double click on the picture. Click on OK. And the file is going to be like in the Smart image file. And then double click on the log also so that the layer is not locked. Yep. Now you have your background picture already. Then you must preset all these things. For example, unlock configure, so that chooses on disconfigure. Yeah, it means that the surfaces don't touch the same color. Don't touch. And you have big tolerance, and then you have perfect foreground color. And now, if you increase the size of your brush, really a lot, really, then yeah, with a little more. Then you just click somewhere on the blue surface, and it selects you everything. So you can go around. Perfect. So, yep. Just prepare a nice new file, and we will do workbooks with that. Other tolerance is still actually so increasing. Yeah, you must pay attention where you send it. Click on the blue scrub. And then choose only the color. Yep. Yeah. There is a cross in the middle of the circle that you are choosing. So if you go here, you see
cross, and the cross detects the color which you want to get rid of, which you want to delete. So if you click with the cross on the tree, it selects the tree. You have to choose the blue one. So if you increase, you can still increase the size of the circle. And just click once, somewhere, anywhere. But this is really miraculous. You don't have to spend so much time.
Yeah, I actually like to use also that one because it's like all these references to like anything like
Okay. Yeah, so you can do whatever you want. But this is really takes a lot of time. So you just increase the circle and click somewhere on the blue. And if you have really big tolerance, it wouldn't leave those blue shadows behind. Okay, and we have like a new file with this just one selected object there. So now I will roughly select this object with, I think, with a lasso, for example. Okay. Working with a mouse is great. So, where does it select? Where the arrow is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just roughly select this to have an object to play around with.
So your tolerance,
It's everything with a tolerance. There is also a function if you are going around some object, it does continuously selects the color which is next to it and changes according to it. But in this task we don't need it. So let's just select this and copy it into a new file. So you can copy the whole layer or you can just copy the object. So file, a new one, tree, for example. Well, we don't need the resolution, so let's click on OK. This is going to be quite small. Yeah. So like this and Control V. So here we are, and we still have something like a bluish background there. So if there are some rests of the blue background, just select it and delete. And I still have continuous clicked, so I don't want that. I just want to select all the bluish and get rid of it. So, okay. So Control D is deselect. And now what I wanted to show, just in case, for example, for the comic book or for something where you have many photos and you need to make the same adjustment for all those photos, you can record an action and then just replay it. So first of all, I will just decrease the size of the tree. So Control T. I will make it a little bit smaller. With Shift, I preserve this ratio. And I'll get it like this, for example. So let's do it. Put it slightly in the middle. Under Windows, window, you have also something like actions. So if you let's open the panel, the actions panel, and the actions record all actions that we do. So we can preset a new file where we want to record our set of actions, which can be like decreasing the size, recoloring, anything you do in Photoshop you can record and then replay. So if there are like several steps of those actions, you only click once and all those steps will be replayed on your picture. So let's set a new action, which I would call the tree one. Yeah, key, whatever, color, nothing, and record. And from this point on, this record button is pushed, and anything you do is being recorded. So, what I would like to do, I would first like to copy this layer into another layer, duplicate layer. So I will make duplicate on this layer. Then it means that I have these two trees behind each other, and I still have something violet here. Doesn't matter. So now I have two trees behind each other. Then I will just adjust them so that we can see a difference. And be careful. If I want to, for example, generate a whirlpool, that means that the tree rotates around and generates a flower made of the trees. I must preset the center of the rotation. So I will put it here because I want that it rotates according to this middle of the tree. Still go a little bit closer to be able to preset the very center of the rotation in the middle of the tree, which is here maybe. Okay. So now I will go to edit, for example, transform and rotate. Rotate should I could do it even without it, right? But let's rotate it. How do you do minus here?
Minus?
Just to unzoom. So like this, yeah. So I will rotate my tree, like for example, this angle, or I can preset the angle. I see like how much does it rotate here on the upper left. So I can, for example, preset 25 degrees and press enter. And I can also adjust it that it kind of gets smaller. So I can do Control T again and put this middle to the center, which I want to change my size to. And I will make it a little smaller. It still doesn't work. Just a little. Okay. Or if I put it here, would it be better? Still gets into cross a little bit. Okay, let's see if this is the right. And press enter. So let's see, this is my action that I wanted to record. So I will stop recording, and then I will go to the tree one and go to replay, which is just clicking on the play, and that will generate me the trees in order to get the whirlpool.
Where did we do action from?
Window and action panel. So I can really easily generate kind of cool graphics with the objects that I have. I can of course think of change of the color in throughout this action, or do anything. So just try it out now to add, for example, different action to what we are doing, and try to generate a different object. Just try to use the tool now according to your fantasy, because you can really do lots of things. Yep. So window actions, and here you must set up name of the action. So new action. So you just are creating a new action, and now whatever you do is being recorded. So you can change the object, rotate it, change its color, apply different management of it. And you also can work with the change of the center of the distortion. So if you if you just drag the center of the distortion somewhere else, it will distort according, it will rotate according to the center of rotation.
Okay, now. Yeah, there was like 3 of you and then lost. Yeah. And then we went in
So just take a lesson, or you can really choose anything for choosing. Wow, there already. Yeah. So Control D, let's make it a little bit smaller. That kind of allows you to change the size of the file.
And now, so we recorded those two moves, the duplicate transform. Now when this method left, we shift it.
Now,
This way you can, because we were using transform, but you can use this tool to do anything. That's like when you're doing this, I always start a recording, and then if something goes wrong and I need to then render it, I can use that for me and render all the way back. It's so great when they use spiral.
and now everything is so all actions you take are recorded. So like I said before, after you want the spiral, it's then I select one layer, and then after you actually copy like just as it for the top layer. So it's like
If I copy
Do it top layer.
I recorded, but it's not really working.
first I just so reflecting the layer.
Yeah, it won't work like this because you must start by like actually like doing everything from the beginning, if you know what I'm saying.
I'm into
Like, do you mind if I show you?
layer, and I can
So we'll stop this recording. And your tree. Yeah, it's here. So, yeah, sorry. Let's just delete this. And we'll start again. So, we can rename this tree, so you remember it. And then up here, before we continue, let's just remove all of these duplicates. So we have just one tree. So we'll start recording now. First thing you must do is duplicate the layer. So Control J is a shortcut, or you can right click and go duplicate, it doesn't matter. So now we have two. First thing we're going to do is replace the center point. So you see in the middle there is a center point. You want to put that down at the trunk, because this will be the point. And now the next tool we can do is just to rotate
and this is your
like this.
actions.
And if you want, you can also like reduce its size. Just know when you reduce the size on this side, it's going to like remove that pivot point. So your pivot point should be somewhere in the middle, like this. And then you hit OK, and that's it. We will stop the recording. And now when we come back to play this recording, you click on the tree. So this is actually one set. So we'll play this, and you'll see here the tree is going off into the background. But the reason this didn't work like the others is because here, the rotation did not stay exactly on this pivot point. So the way to fix this is to not resize it.
Try to implement more fantasy to do more actions or do some other things.
And you can also just do a shortcut. So if you have Control J, we can keep this layer copy and start recording from here. So now we want to move this down here, and then just rotate and stop it like this. Approve first.
Well,
And then
I'll
stop.
just show you how to do the rotation and then implement the rotation.
Do it again.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe it's a trainer therapy for me.
But, yeah.
But you understand that the recording is like literally everything you do, it will copy.
Some other place. So we can use the center.
So new file. So what we want to do is we can mark it like maybe not the shape, but the polygon, yeah. Polygon and you select the creation. And you copy this into a new file. So. Oh, Trump.
At first I didn't, but now it says like selection layer, blah, blah, blah. So I should already have it selected, yeah. If I already leave, yeah. Yeah, but I did it because like otherwise it would rotate like here, but I don't know why it's getting like the first two was like in the same place, but then after that they're like moving up there center.
Did you turn the center? Yes, you didn't. So now rotate right screen.
Yeah, because but then you have to do it some other way than just kicking and then move that. Yeah, because I did it once because it's there.
Oh, you want to
Like these two, I think, but then it's not. Yeah, because if you just like,
So let's just copy this. Then we'll open new file.
Yeah, one moment, I will try something. So if you have one. So I select it, move, record. So
now start by recording.
first, come on. duplicate layer. So I have copy. Yes. Then I will set Ctrl T. Remove it. This. Enter. And that's it, right? Stop. So if I click on this one, oh, yep. It works on this computer. Maybe you should restart or something because the red light it works or there is something you click on. Something is also like
Yeah, but it actually still
okay.
went to the front.
What I want to do now still is to collect the money. So we started with the groups. So
Yeah, you can see everything.
like yeah, till next time. It would be great to just in the groups get together and generate some. It could be like funny photo montage. If you post that. Yeah, some funny photo montage. If you get pre-planned, you can.
I don't think that's very like that.
Or you can use this breaking for the photo montage because you can switch places. And here I don't. So it would be great if you come here and we can kind of manage the money. I want to. Yes, I must write it down. So I must write down the name.
How much was it for just the mirror?
Just the mirror was just 15.
Because the other one I paid there already for
Okay,
myself.
okay. So just the name and amount.
Rula? Yeah, R-O-E-L-A. That's not R. It's. No. Where do you put it? R-O-E.
A?
L.
L. Okay, Rola.
Yeah.
Okay.
50 for the months.
Okay.
We sent you an email last week to say that we couldn't come because we had another.
Okay, so you were not there.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to tell you.
No problem. It's okay.
I have a file of everyone's names.
I just need to pay for the mirror, but
Uh-huh.
I have
Okay, I have some money back there, so just wait a little bit more, then I will have money to give you back.
How much was it?
130. And what is your name?
Matilda.
Matilda. Matilda, okay. Great. So, perfect. I almost have it.